Hello everyone, let's talk about the Spanish failure at absolutism. So at the start of the 17th century, Spain controlled a vast empire, Africa, America, Asia, they had land everywhere. But in 1596, the country was broke. This was because of the inflation, the price revolution, they had a ton of gold and silver coming in, and with their silver mines running out, but they're spending at an all-time high, they had nothing, no backup plan for when it failed. So Philip II, also, he was a Bourbon, he also spent way too much on the Spanish Wars of Secession. As we know, there were fights over whether or not he should get the throne or someone else should get the throne, the Habsburgs. So he ended up wasting all his money, which he didn't have in the first place. So his successor, Philip III, because they are incredibly creative with names, also wasted a ton of cash on his court. King Louis XIV was sort of the gold standard. The gold standard for royalty in the 18th century. So people looked at him, or the 17th century, so people looked at him and all the gold he was spending and say, hey, I want that. So Philip III was like, I don't have money, but I want that, so I'm going to get that. And he got that. Even though it still didn't compete with King Louis's royal court, and it cost him way too much money. Also, the military was weak, they were broken, the government was weak and broken because they had no money. The middle class was weak and broken, there's a pattern here, and the nobility was spending crazed. They just wanted everything. They were really just like, see it, I get it. There were also too many priests and monks, which require tax money that they don't have anymore. And what made this worse was that Philip III's greedy duke, the Duke of Lerma, was for some reason appointed to run the country for King Philip III, who really just wanted to be off partying. And the Duke of Lerma was not really interested in protecting the financial interests of the state. He was interested in amassing wealth for him and for his family. So he would appoint key positions that the country really needed to have qualified people in order to run to his family members. And as we know from Philip the Great, as he put it so nicely, nepotism is not a good idea. So after Philip III, the reign of Philip IV, the names are just incredible, began, and this reign, actually, this Philip gave hope to Spain because his chief minister, the person who he had running the country and his finances going with, Gaspar de Guzman, the Count of Olivares, was good at his job. Guzman was clever and hardworking and power-hungry, which is exactly what you want in a chief minister. Well, maybe not the last one, but mostly. He tried to revive the monarchy with a ton of decrees and programs designed to push absolutism, consolidate power on the monarch, and really just show that the state was in charge and not any nobles and not any peasants who were revolting at the time. He tried to take power from the Catholic Church as well to give it to the state, just like King Henry did, King Henry VIII back in England. The programs failed because the nobility was already too powerful. They were really the only ones left with any money. And they had autonomy relatively because the government of Spain was weak and broken because they had no money. So despite their efforts, that didn't work. But it wasn't just powerful nobles, it was also that King Philip and Guzman were morons. They were obsessed with this idea of glory in battle, so they started all these wars, and they pursued imperialism, like, oh, I want to gain territory here, I want to gain territory there. And they couldn't afford these wars, but they did them anyway, and they lost. So that didn't work out well for them. But also, you know what happens when governments take all the tax money and spend it on things that really do not help and actually hurt the people who are paying said taxes? The peasants revolt, of course. So the peasants revolted, which costed the Spanish government even more to put down that revolt. And, well, in this case, the nobility helped, I guess, so it wasn't that bad. But they're part of the government. So still, they're going even further into that sinkhole of money that they do not have, and there's no one left to lend it to them. So the Spanish war efforts failed, and at the Battle of Rocroi, you could look it up, it's on page 459, the Battle of something destroyed a large portion of the Spanish army that they really could not afford to lose, and after the 1640s, Spain lost most of their foreign empire because they could just simply not defend it. And so Spanish absolutism failed. Good luck.